It's the middle of the week, it's a new month, and we have the critical drinker with us here this morning on Midnight's Edge in the Morning. Good morning, afternoon, evening, whatever it is, where you is. Welcome to Midnight's Edge in the Morning. I am Tom Connors. With me is Andre the Boss Man.
Greetings, everyone. Hope you are doing great. And we have someone else with us as well, don't we, Tom?
The one, the only critical drinker has returned to Midnight's Edge in the Morning. We've rustled him out of bed. He's got a bit of a hangover, but he's here.
That's all right, man. I'm well on my way to getting drunk again. Hair of the dog and all that.
The little dog, hair of the dog that bit you. That's all that matters, right?
Exactly.
That's the cure-all. No, I'm kidding. Of course, he's not drinking. It's actually afternoon, probably where you are now, or evening, actually.
Well, yeah, if you're past midday, so it's okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's 5:00 somewhere. That's all that matters. And we got a script doctor. We got Lorena in the chat. Welcome. We even have Anna, that Star Wars girl. Look at that.
Oh,
awesome.
Nice. Yeah, we have quite a few people joining us today in the chat. That's awesome. And yeah, special kudos to Lorena Creole that sent us a 99-cent super sticker. Thank you so much. And
Yes.
while we're in the process of thanking for that, we also got a couple of super chats already for the drinker. Just have to start with that. Okia Native says, I never said Quigley was a great movie, by the way. Just shocked you had never seen it. Selleck and Rickman, two titans. Have you never seen Blow Dry?
It's great. Like, you guys are now profiting from this guy's desire to get me to watch Quigley Down Under. But I can now say that I've seen it, so I'll talk about it properly on my Rocky stream tomorrow night. But it was all right. Like, I think after all this time, I kind of expected it would either be like monumentally terrible or absolutely great. But it was just kind of in between. Just an old-fashioned adventure movie.
They're a worse place to be. And before we move on with the topics of the day, the Twicky Kid also says, Hail Drinka! I got me Drinka mug for me coffee last week. It's holding up so far. Go away now. You have to speak like crap Scottish. Like I can't do accents other than the one I'm stuck with, which I do absolutely all the time. So, yeah.
Well, you've got that accent down, so you're fine.
That's one I have down.
It's good to see the drinker merchandise is doing well. So thank you for the Tweaky Kid. I hope you enjoy the mug.
Now, didn't your new book just come out as well?
It did, yeah. Something to Die For. That came out, what would that be? About 2 weeks ago now.
Yeah.
So it's toddling along very nicely, and it's been getting great reviews. So I'm very pleased with that.
Fantastic.
Glad to hear it.
That's absolutely awesome, because here then we have written material, original literary content that is getting good reviews. Now, how rare is that in our neck of the woods, and basically with the stuff that we're covering? Because something that is not getting good reviews of the bat is something that we'll get back to in 30 seconds after we give some kudos to Crimson ID4, who says, thank you for recommending The Lighthouse Drinker. Outstanding movie.
I'm glad you enjoyed it, man. Honestly, yeah, I had a blast with that one. I went into it, not knowing a huge amount about it. I just know that people had created a bit of buzz around it. And I was just kind of mesmerized by it. Like, the performances were absolutely brilliant. I loved that old-fashioned aspect ratio, the square sort of screen, the way it was shot in black and white 35mm film. Just really called to mind like those old classic like art house type movies from like the 60s. It just a really gripping sort of movie that was very different, very unusual, but I enjoyed it for a bit of a change.
Yeah, absolutely. That's like the thing. I really enjoy A24. They are one of my favorite movie studios because they create truly original content, much like you do in doing the books. Now, speaking of books, let's get into like the first main topic of the day. You all knew that we had to cover it. It's in the thumbnail and everything, because DC Comics, on their way down the abyss, of course, had to make like a new announcement of a new original graphic novel coming, namely I Am Not Starfire, where we get to meet Starfire's gay goth daughter Mandy. So yay, everyone, be excited. Like, this is the thing that's going to save DC. Here it is. It's going to bring in a million
Well,
viewers.
they can't let
For it.
they can't let Marvel be the only ones that have a woke group of superheroes on the way.
Yeah,
Safe Space and Lunchbox and whatnot.
yeah, with his internet gas, like I think they might have topped it here. I can't look at this cover without laughing.
Oh, Starfarter. There we go.
It's just incredible. It's looking at it, Joe, just purely from a business point of view, like clearly nobody's going to buy this. And DC aren't exactly flush for cash these days. They've been having to have layoffs and cutbacks and all the rest of it. And here they are dumping resources they badly need elsewhere into trash like this that's just never going to sell.
Yeah, but about that, I'm glad you brought that up, because that's actually a really, really important thing to keep in mind here. Because we get like this cover and this announcement right now, and then, or actually it's been announced before, but we get the cover right now. So then it looks like this is something that has been like thrown together in the last couple of months or something. But that's actually not true at all, because this book right here is part of a young adult original graphic novel initiative that was first announced last year in 2019. That was when the ball was started to roll on this, and I believe 27 other similar projects behind it, because then they figured out that, okay, let's go young adult. There's so much money in young adult content, and that was true 10 years ago. But like the bottom has fallen out of that market, even in the book sites. That's really collapsing rapidly right now.
You really think that that's the mentality they went into this shit with? I'm not saying you're wrong, Andre, but I think it has more to do with the scholastic bullshit. I think that they're spreading it to the YA so they can sell more books to schools and shit, is my thought.
Yeah, but I don't think that's going to work, because here's the thing, that the editor that was in charge of this project, she's already out the door. She was, I don't remember if she was removed in the first or the second bloodbath, but it was after they got all of the returns on that high school half Chinese Batman thing. When they got like the returns of that, then, or maybe that was coincidence, I somehow doubt it, but then she was out the door. But unfortunately, all the money that went into making this, and all the other 27 or however many other books there are in this young adult line, have already been spent. So yeah, they're going to take a massive bath on it. But
I mean, I would predict the smallest of small print runs for this, and making it available on digital and stuff just to try and minimize their losses. Like, I can't imagine they'll have spent too much on commission for the author. They clearly didn't spend much on the cover art. So maybe it'll just be a cheap like gamble, I guess. I guess the issue that comes up for me is like, when I read the synopsis, I was like, oh, you could actually do something with this. Like, a character who's struggling to get out under the shadow of their famous parent and like dealing with the consequences of fame and infamy and what it's like to be a normal person in the circle of a superhero. I guess that's an interesting topic that you could explore if you did it competently. But when you see this, and when you see that the only things they emphasize about this character is that her sexuality and the fact that she's a goth and she's clearly like body positive.
Let's just
put it gently.
She's body positive and she's promoting body positivity.
All of those things, that just tells you exactly where their mentality is with this thing, and it's just ticking a bunch of boxes as usual, and it just makes it seem like absolute trash.
Yeah. And Redneck Gringa had like a good question. He wondered like, who did Starfire produce that offspring with? The Penguin? Must have been Danny DeVito's Penguin, because I'm not even sure the Cobblepot
I like redheads.
That bad in the comics.
Yeah,
just the pussy I've been looking for.
So, I mean, because you were talking as well about the Gotham High as well, I take it that didn't sell particularly well. Imagine my shock.
Now, here's the
I
thing.
think
with
it sold a
Guy.
total of like what 5 copies, and that was all YouTubers. I think.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. Because here's like the thing on that one, they actually made it so that the retailers could return it back to sender, and they did in large quantities.
Yeah, see,
And
there's your big problem right there.
yeah, and yeah, of course you're gonna have Scholastic, and you're gonna have like the weirdos that are picking content and stuff like there. But they only want so many. There aren't gonna be quite enough to justify the full print run. So I agree with you completely that for these upcoming books, they're gonna do minimal print runs, and try to minimize their losses. And we just got Rob joining us. Hey, Rob.
Oh boy, we're talking about this, aren't we? Oh man, it's like it's the oh boy, it's freaking Debbie from American Dad. That's what it is. Remember Steve's girlfriend, Debbie from American Dad? You know, I'm tired of these. I really am tired of these self-insert characters. Yeah, this because if you take
self-insert, Tom, bring up a picture of the author.
Yeah.
This is uncanny, by the way.
Yeah, this is, the first thing you learn when you're doing any kind of creative writing is do not make yourself the main character. Even if you're writing from your own experience, you do not make yourself the main character. Because it just becomes a self-insert and it's boring, you get this.
The other thing that comes to mind as well, and I made the point about this on Twitter, is like comic book heroes and heroes in general. Like they used to be characters that you would aspire to and look up to and think, that's the best aspects of humanity right there. Like that's something that we can feel good about. But who the hell is going to aspire to this?
If only I could be as brave as Spider-Man. If only I could be as muscular and heroic and athletic as Captain America and stalwart and true as.
Or you mean this lady or guy or what? I don't know what this is.
No one goes through life saying,
I'm not trying to misgender anything, but holy hell.
Yeah. No one goes through life saying, I wish I was a blue-haired, depressed goth.
Yeah, okay, exactly. There we have the real life. What was the name of the character? Mandy. There's the real life Mandy right there.
Jesus fucking Christ! Sorry.
Kill it, fire!
I couldn't take it no more. I couldn't. No,
guys, come on. That's a personal choice, and
that's a personal choice. You mean she doesn't have to look that way? Oh my God!
If that's a personal choice,
let us not body shame and just laugh.
I'm not shaming. I'm just saying if that's a choice, holy shit, then it should be shamed. That's the things we don't make fun of are the things that aren't choices, right? That's the way I was fucking raised.
The thing is, right, this is all born from this mentality of if a person on screen doesn't look and talk and think exactly as me, then I can't relate to them.
Mm-hmm.
And it's such a flawed, like that's not how human imaginations work. When I was a kid, like I didn't look like Indiana Jones. I didn't look like Luke Skywalker or Marty McFly, but I liked all of those characters and I identified with whatever they were going through. Because like everyone, I have some kind of imagination where I can project myself onto other people. But like this kind of trash just is based on this idea that heroes have to look exactly like you and they have to be like you.
I'll do even one better, okay? Let me see if I can bring this up on a screen share.
Well, while you're doing that, Jason Gallagher says, I just can't handle modern women. Well, if this is what modern women look like, I don't want to handle them. And again, it's their choice. I can make fun of them. I'm sorry.
I mean, looking at that cover art, I think you need a forklift truck to handle that.
I don't know if it's a he, she. It says she. She's trying to be a she, so whatever.
One of my heroes is Walt Frazier.
Which is not even showing up, but yeah.
Well, yeah, it should be. It's on the screen share thing here.
Well, it's because you're running Windows 98.
Yeah, fucking Windows 98. Well, Tom. Here, maybe you could share the photo.
There it goes. It's up now.
Okay, Tom, do I look anything like Walt Frazier?
You are the exact opposite.
Okay, but I could still identify with how cool Walt was, and cool. We call him Clyde, or you want to wear the same sneakers as Clyde. You want
the fact that you're trying to be as cool as
I'm
Walt
never gonna
Frazier in 2020 is beyond me. But okay,
Well, but I'm never gonna be. When I was a kid, I was never gonna be as cool as Walt Frazier. Little fat, dumpy, white Italian kid. You kidding me? But at the same time, you saw that. I'm like, yeah, you try to, yeah, that's cool. I want to be I want to be that cool. You find things in people, even if they don't look like you, even if they don't resemble you in any way, to sort of emulate, and you want to bring it to your own to make yourself better. The aspirational.
Exactly. Yeah. You might not think like I can be as big as that guy, or as strong as that guy, or as skilled as this person. It's not about that, though. It's about just giving you something to aspire to make yourself better.
Mm-hmm.
You might never get close to whatever you see on screen, but it doesn't matter. It's improved you. It's improved your life in some way just by you being exposed to that. But this is the opposite of aspiration. This is just depression.
Mm-hmm.
This is like you just toddle along in your crappy mediocre life and just accept everything about your life as it is, and don't try and improve anything. Like what?
The world has to. The world has to bend to me.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
I'm glad you
Exactly.
said that, Ringer, because I think that's basically the whole purpose of this. Because what I see on Twitter, everyone defending this is like saying, "Oh, this is going to bring in so many new fans," and it's obviously written for people that look exactly like that, so that they can project themselves into a DC comic.
Where are
But
they
the
going to?
problem is that it's going to be off-putting to absolutely everyone else.
Where are they going to sell it? Hot Topic?
I mean,
Hot Topic's not even open anymore, I don't think.
I think going back to your point, Andre, I think even people who look like that aren't going to want this, because they're not going to they're not going to want to be reminded that they look like that.
Well, not just
You know what I mean?
but
Like, if
no,
you
but
get
in reality, those people like that don't buy comic books.
No, they don't buy anything.
Probably not, no.
No, especially not with comic books like these. Rob, let me ask you this: since
Yes.
you just self-identified as, when you were a kid, like a short, fat, dumpy, white Italian kid.
Yeah.
When you were a kid and you were reading comics, was your highest wish to have comics of short, dumpy, white Italian kids?
No, because that would be boring. I keep saying.
No, basically by their
people.
mentality, the only person that Rob can identify with is Mario.
Yes, it's me, Mario. We used to have a saying: if you came home looking like that, in my house, if someone walked in the door looking like that, we would have a saying. And Tom, you know this saying. It applies not just to people of the Italian persuasion, but everyone of any persuasion. What's the matter for you, huh?
What's the matter for you, huh?
What's the matter for you?
Don't you worry about what your mama think?
Yeah, because yeah. What are you? Oh, your parents must be really proud of you. You'd say,
Now you're getting in the modern accents there. Yeah. I bet your mom's real proud of you, huh?
Yeah. But it's beyond stupid. It is beyond stupid. Like you're saying, thinking this is going to draw in new readers. No, it should be a generational thing. I got into comics because my older brother was into them. And they're missing that point. Like they want to throw the readership out. I'm like, no, you don't throw the readership out. You want to grandfather in new readers by using the old readers. That's how it works. It's a generational thing. I got into Star Trek because my older brother was watching Star Trek. I got into basketball because somebody in the family. Why do you think there's an old? I'm going to pull something from the sports world. Your favorite team is only the ones that someone else in your family likes. I'm a New York Giants fan. I'm a New York Yankees fan because I'm a New York Knicks fan because the family somebody in the family like those teams. And it applies the same to Star Trek, to comics, to Star Wars, to Marvel, everything. I mean, it is a generational touchstone.
Well, no,
John, Andre or Tom, could you pull up
Yeah.
the last super chat that was there? Actually, they raised
Sure.
a really good point.
Absolutely. Mr. Tickle Trunk sent in a Canadian $20. Thank you.
Yeah, so having to see yourself in something to enjoy it is 100% narcissism. Normal fans of comics, sci-fi, or fantasy see themselves in aspects of any character, be they male, female, blue, a lizard, green jelly blob on the Orville.
No, I was actually
Exactly.
going to bring this up
The
to
best-
you, Critical Drinker, because you're a writer, and I think this really hits home with somebody like you, to where you don't have to self-insert your character into everything you write. That's the point, is you find things to relate to. And I've brought up this point before, is like, and I always bring up Short Circuit as a perfect example. We identify with that little fucking robot.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter that he's a robot. We identify with him. Same thing with, like, I brought up, you're doing the Rocky thing right now. And that's one movie I always bring up, right, Rob? It's like, according to Rocky, the only people who'd be able to relate to that are middle-aged Italian boxers who never were.
What are you talking about?
They're overlooking the fact. Yeah,
I'll do you another one, like both the original Terminator and Alien. Like, there's not a man on this panel that did not at some level also identify a little bit with Sarah Connor and with Ripley. A little bit. We all did.
John Miller, $5. I never understood his push for a wider audience. Let me touch on that. Wider audience unicorn seems to cost them more customers than they gain. That is because you have now marketing people and accountants and all these like firms, like these analytics firms, like Parrot Analytics. They're running numbers. Oh, the millennial audience is very big now. There's a lot of people. We have to get that. Remember that scene in Spinal Tap? Tom, he goes, "Are you hitting the New York market?" No, we're not going to saturate New York, but Philly, that's a real rock and roll town. Oh, yeah, Philly's great. They're like, yeah, that's the thinking. He goes, all they see is numbers. They see millennials as a huge consumer group, but they're not thinking, do they actually buy anything?
I'm trying to remember which town they said wasn't a big college town again, but yeah, it was. Like, are you kidding me? No, but you're bringing a great point. But I want to ask Critical Drinker, like, you obviously probably have a process when you come up with a character. All these people do is they just self-insert. I guarantee you that's not what you do.
Well, yeah, because like having a drunken Scottish guy with no combat training as your main character in like an espionage story wouldn't. Yeah,
that sounds awesome.
It would be like the shortest fucking book in history.
How did I get here?
I would get into the first situation and just get instantly killed, and it's like that's it.
You managed to get through the whole book because
died a lonely death.
You just don't give a shit.
Yeah. Drinker, I will say though, that would make for a fantastic short story.
That's what I was just thinking. I'm like, I want to read that now.
I'm going to Ryan Johnson the shit out of that, just subvert people's expectations.
Yeah, that's what it by default, it can't be any more than short story, but it would be a legendary short story.
DeWall, $10. I know the writer figuratively, but literally put herself in the book. Oh, thank you for making that bigger. However, it might have been interesting if it was put off as the daughter of the Penguin. Just saying. Yeah, well, that's what we're all thinking. Like I said, I wrote a web series called FU about my time at university. And as tempted as I was to make myself the main character, it's based on my experiences, but I made my buddy Jake the main character. I actually wrote it for him. I'm like, okay, we're gonna write. And another character was Dave Sheehan, who we've had on the podcast. Just because, like I said, I've seen me. I know that I'm not that interesting, but this other guy is.
That's the thing. I think for me, I would, even if I was writing a book that was nothing to do with like action or thrillers or that, it was just like more of a conventional drama, I would be really embarrassed to have myself be in the story or an author insert, because then you're putting a component of your own personality into it. And you don't have that separation anymore between you and the piece of work that you've created. Whereas, I would make a point of trying to make the characters as different from me as possible, so I can keep that separation and say, look, this is just a fictional world I created. And if people hate it, then great. They're not hating me. They're hating the work that I've produced.
Yeah. Well, I think there's too much of, I heard Mark Hamill one time say, when he wrote the comic Black Pearl, he said one time, they always say, write about what you know. And I think a lot of people are taking that a bit too literally. Write about what you know. Well, I know me. And they're not even, but it writes yourself into a box that way. That you're actually just narrow casting, for want of a better expression, your perspective. You're not. Go ahead. Sorry.
No. Sorry, I'll let you finish.
That I am finished.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I mean, do you think it's this trend, I guess, for the current generation or the next generation to be even more narcissistic and self-involved and self-obsessed, so that like I am all that really matters in the world, and so if I come to write a piece of fiction, it's going to be about me.
It's like the 80s, only reversed and worse. Because the 80s were the me generation, and it was like a conservative movement through, like it was really encapsulated by Michael J. Fox and Family Ties. Like that was the modern Republican kid at that era of the me generation kind of thing. We have that now on the liberal side of things, but it's almost like they're forcing it. Like, at least like with, like the way they portrayed the 80s kind of kid. Yeah, it was all about me, but, it wasn't about at the expense of you. You know what I mean? Like, that's kind of what it seems like now.
Well, back then, was it not more like it's about me, but I'm going to go out into the world and get what I want?
Exactly. Yes, there was a motivation
the ideal
behind it.
me.
Yeah.
Whereas now, it's all about I want the world to give me what I want. I'm not going to take it. I'm going to have it given to me.
I'm going to go out into the world and I'm going to do the things I need to get the brass ring. Now it's just everybody's special. Everybody is. You're the most special that ever specialed, just like Syndrome in
they take competition out of everything. Yeah. They take
Drinker. I'm not sure about what over there, but over here there was a trend for a long time during the 90s and 2000s where they stopped keeping score when kids were playing soccer or football, as you'd call it. We had I should refer to ours as American football now. That was a big thing. They stopped keeping score because they didn't want kids to feel bad if they lost.
See, we in Scotland, like we were way behind America, like in that sort of cultural way of doing things. Like back in the 90s, yeah, it was brutal, man. You fucking sunk or swam.
Yeah,
and if you sucked at things, even the teachers would take the piss out of you. It was brutal, but. Now I think we've gone way beyond America. Like we are super like progressive and accepting of every person's unique special snowflakeness over here. Like way beyond, I think, even what you guys have got.
I bet that you are far less accepting of anyone that's just plain normal.
Yeah, probably.
I'll never forget though, when Carlos Mencia talked about that on his show, Mind Mencia. He goes, the whole point of keeping score was to motivate your kids to get better. You look out in the field and you tell your kid, hey, don't be like Jimmy. Okay, that one kid that screws up all the time.
Yeah, and like going back to my whole thing about the 80s and like it was just brought up in the chat here. I had on the screen, I just lost it, but no, I mean that's the thing. It was about individualism, but it was about self-improvement always. It was about, like you guys said, going out and getting it for yourself. Not expecting everything to be handed to you. I mean that's the way our generation, for the most part, we're all close to the same age except for Rob, who's old, but still, he's a boomer, but that's all right. We still accept him. No, but it's true. It's about this individualism bullshit now is all about, no, you have to be like me. And if you don't like me, then you're the problem. And that's where I'm getting really upset with this. And, we had this whole thing yesterday. It's just been blowing up, is that Ellen Page has now decided that she's Elliot Page. Which is fine and dandy. That's grand.
She was a VIP, bought a strap on, big fucking.
Well, to be fair though, in her case, she's always been a lesbian.
Yes,
so it's just like taking it one step further.
Right.
So yeah, like she hasn't like changed her preference or anything. She's just like changed something about herself. So.
But what is that purpose? Does that serve? I guess. I mean, besides her own personal purpose, grand.
That just says, look at me. That's it's. And again, narcissism. Oh, look, I'm gonna say something. You're all gonna pay attention to me because I'm special, and now I'm even more special because I declared myself more special.
Well, I think in her particular, like normally but I think in like there are some cases where it's like a genuine dysmorphia thing, and I think that this might be one of them. Like I could be way wrong, but I think that in this particular case, it could be like a genuine thing from her. That
I mean,
figures like this. Yeah, this is exactly what she much he needed.
I can't comment on her own sort of her personality or her what's going on in her private life, and I wouldn't. But all I can say is like season 3 of Umbrella Academy is going to be fucking wild, man.
hey! Somebody actually in the chat brought up a good point. If she's transgender and identifies as a male, and she's dating a woman, does that make her a straight white male?
Yep. Well, I brought that up too.
Titania McGrath pointed this out on Twitter. It was like, well, now she's transitioned to a white male, so she's now the object of everyone's hatred.
Right? No, it's funny, right? Because I bring up a lot of that shit too. It's like, it's funny that the misogynism is the problem. That white men are the problem, but yet,
she wants to
aren't a lot of
men.
Yeah, I was gonna say aren't the most of these women that are trying to identify as men, isn't that a problem then? I mean,
well, evidently not, because here's the thing, that if they, I'm not going to speculate. If their mind was always wired that's kind of like what they were, and their body just came out the wrong way.
Let me just say, be the first to say, Elliot or Ellen or whatever, however you're addressing yourself now. Welcome to the patriarchy. You're gonna like it here. Oh God, that's where we are now. So Michael Cera impregnated a man.
Well, I think she's trying to be Michael Cera. That's
Michael Cera is another one. Jesus,
we already got one. We don't need another one, Elliot.
Michael Cera has no testosterone at all. He has a severe testosterone.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Ellen Page as a guy is basically Michael Cera. That's my point. Like, we already got one. We don't need another one.
Think of how far we've fallen, though. I mean, we went from Sean Connery in the 60s and Elvis in the 50s and Sinatra, being the icons of masculinity to like Michael Cera and Seth Rogen. I mean,
I don't think anyone considers Michael Cera an icon.
But he was
in any decade.
No, but he was. But they were touting him as sort of being like this. They were trying to make him this big star for a while.
Yeah,
and
they were
just
trying to make him like the next Tom Hanks everyman kind of thing, and it just wasn't working.
And it just failed. But think about how far. I mean, the guys in the Big Bang Theory are. I don't want to say they're masculine role models, but I mean, that's what people consider masculine. I mean, now in this day and age, I'm like, really?
I think that's what the the media would try to push on you. But then when you ask people what they actually find appealing and attractive, it's going to be like the big kind of masculine looking guys. Yeah. Like,
well, just take a look at how Anna, that Star Wars girl, she says her ovaries explode when she sees Henry Cavill. I mean,
man, like when she was on stream with me, we were trying to be doing a Star Trek review. That's all she bloody talked about was Henry Cavill. 5 hours that stream went on.
Anna's adorable.
That's just proof, though. What we keep saying is like, that's the thing, and that kind of swings us back around to the whole, who are they trying to get with this crap? They're trying to say that they're trying to get a female audience, but it's not working. Why? Because most women, not all women, but most women want to see what Anna's talking about. They don't want to see this self-insert fucking emo whatchamacallit. They want to be like Starfire. They want to see somebody they aspire to be. They want to find attributes and things that they relate to in somebody they aspire to be. And on the other end of it, they want to see somebody on screen that's masculine they want to be with. Whether it's a male or female, okay, fine. But whatever.
This is the problem that Hollywood and the media keeps bumping up against. Ultimately, it's like, you can present us with any kind of shape and size of humans that you want, but ultimately you're not going to change what people find attractive.
Yeah. Hi, Anna. How's it going? Yeah.
Sick burn there, Anna.
but yeah, Tom, remember what we found out? Who was the largest audience for Aquaman?
Women.
There you go.
And the pure, well, and it doesn't. We don't even have to take a survey. You can ask any women in the Phantom Menace, and they'll tell you flat out why they went and saw Aquaman. It was because of Sons of Aquamanarchy was why. Yeah. They saw that guy. That was all they wanted to see.
You want a fun Aquaman story? Because before Jason Momoa was Aquaman, and before he was Khal Drogo, he was Conan the Barbarian. And one of the reasons why they cast him There were multiple reasons, but one of them was that when the competitor for the role walked past the ladies in the office, no one cared. When Momoa walked past, they swooned over him.
There you go.
That's how Johnny Depp got the role in
the guys in Millennium, they noticed like, oh shit, like maybe the other guys that want Momoa, maybe they're onto something, and that's when they relented.
Well, Johnny Depp is a star today because Wes Craven's daughters took one look at his headshot and said, "Oh, he's dreamy."
Mommy, why are we going to see Aquaman again? Because I said so. Now shut up.
It's the 5th time this week.
Jesus, Mom.
Keep your mouth shut, you little turd.
I don't like it that much.
Don't look at me during the showing.
Yeah, don't mind the bus. No, but that's the point.
Yeah.
And that goes right to the thing that the point that Andre figured out, and that was more women statistically went to see Last Blood than went to see Charlie's Angels last year.
But
how hilarious was that? Because it was there for everyone to find. It was just a matter of looking at the numbers. That in numbers, more women in actual numbers went to see Rambo Last Blood than went to see Charlie's Angels. And of course, in the media, men were shamed for how dare you men not go and see Charlie's Angels, this amazing feminist movie. How dare you men not go see it? Well, the problem was that women didn't see it.
How come we have such
I love this.
False advertising.
Okay. Keep it up, Ann, and I'm just going to bring you on a show.
Well, Tom, remember 54% of men went to go see the audience for Birds of Prey was actually 54% male. So you can't even blame that one on us.
That was the other statistic. Well, I think that was the same video, wasn't it, Andre, where you did that whole breakdown? Yeah.
I believe so. I believe so. Numbers are fun.
Out of the 20 or so people that went and saw it, like 12 of them were men.
But that only proves, though, you cannot fight the instincts we're hardwired for. I mean, we want to see attractive people in these roles. You know, the one time I actually heard my mother say anything about Star Trek was when she saw William Shatner. Oh, that William Shatner was so handsome. You know, even then, like I said, we are hardwired. You cannot fight that. This is how our brains function. We like to see attractive people. There is no shame in that. Even if you're ugly, you want to see attractive people. You know,
100%.
Yeah. And so, like I said, this dumpy little goth girl, it's not going to appeal to anybody because it's not ultimately what we want to see. Oh, how dare you say that? You know what? I'll say it and I'll say it again and I'll keep saying it. This is not what people want, no matter how hard you try to sell it to us.
See, there you go.
Funny you mentioned the dumpy little goth girl. Speaking of Anna in the chat, like she did like a paint over of this dumpy little goth girl and got hell for that on Twitter. Of course, she was still a dumpy little goth girl, but it looked like it could be Starfire's daughter.
Anna loved it when Spike was for
good job on
that. Scenes. Anna loves her some Leonard Nimoy. Oh God, that's funny though. It's fascinating, but oh God. How did we get here? Well, I know how we got here. Like I said,
got here because of Starfarter. That's how we got
Starfarter.
And Lunchbox and Safe Space and Internet Gas. It's all the same. It's all coming from the same place.
It's all coming from the same place.
This is really, I'm obviously not an expert in the comic industry, but based on everything that I've read about what's going on at the moment, like this is a time when they need to be, they need to be concentrating on their brands that are really selling. And finding ways to revamp them or refresh them or do something. But like to turn out garbage like this that clearly no one's going to want, it's just tarnishing the whole industry and bring it down even further. And it's all people are doing. They look at stuff like this and they're just going to point and laugh.
Yeah, it might have seemed like a good idea when they first announced this. I don't know why, but the people evidently told them that it was a good idea. But I think the numbers are going to show if and when these things get out. But here's like the thing: DC Comics is right now in the process of being shut down.
Yeah.
Like this thing right here, that's probably going to come out. But all these 27 other things that have been announced, some of them have come out already, but there's no guarantee that all of them are actually going to come out. There might not be a DC Comics around this time next year.
No, I think AT&T is going to shut it down. I think Disney's going to shut down
They'll
Marvel. They'll continue to do like graphic novels and special things and license out the characters for comics and stuff. But I don't see them doing like, I mean, hasn't DC already pretty much announced they're not doing an ongoing storyline anymore?
Well, I do not remember in detail every single thing that they have announced or not announced. Like we have other people in our community,
or at least a universe-wide storyline
into the comic book side of things than we are. Certainly with the politics and everything like that. But changes are definitely coming. And if Ethan Van Sciver is to be believed, and he hasn't been wrong so far. Then basically what he's saying is that every writer, every artist better just hand in their work as quickly as possible, get paid, because there's no guarantee that this thing is going to come out.
Right. And then for the last 20 years leading up to this, it feels like a lot of these comic book artists were just trying to create a new franchise, something they could sell to a movie studio. And I think he's said similar things to that as well.
Well, the other problem is that you have nobody working in the comic industry, and I don't know who pointed this out, that writes comics. That is their job. They all do something else. Vita Ayala does something else.
But that's by necessity, though. Of course, they have to, because here's like the thing. But there's no don't pay the bills.
Yeah, but there's no incentive then to make anything good. That's the idea. And so you can do these self-insert characters like Snowflake and Safe Space and Internet Gas and chubby little goth girl there and without any fear. Like Sana Amanat is from a rich family. Do you think she gives a shit if Marvel tanks? No, she'll just go work for like a hedge fund or something. It's not her success or failure is not contingent upon the work she does. And it shows. Daniel Kibblesmith was writing for Colbert. I mean, so he could just go write for Saturday Night Live or the rotting corpse of the Daily Show or whatever. I mean, like I said, he doesn't need.
No, I get what Rob's saying. It's about like the Gilmore Girl writers being on STD. It's like, what fucking right or reason or rhyme are they doing this for? It's not, they're not doing it for the love of Star Trek. That's for fucking sure. It's just like all these people, they're not doing this for the love of comic books. No, they're doing what we've been saying all this time. Oh, it's a shame you've got these comic book things you like. It would be a darn shame if somebody come in and mess those up for you, wouldn't it? But we need to teach you a lesson, and the fact that you don't like it means that the lesson's working. That's the way they see this shit.
Yeah, it's wonderful, like self-fulfilling prophecy there, isn't it? Like, we're going to do this thing that you hate, and we know you're going to hate it, and when you complain about it, we're just going to say that, well, that's because you're toxic.
That's exactly what it is, and it's been the same since Ghostbusters and beyond. It's this fucking mentality they have, and they continue to push. And
Ghostbusters was truly prophetic, wasn't it?
Oh, you don't like it? I broke it on purpose, just so that you wouldn't like it.
Yeah, exactly. It is. It's that fucking little. I'll share it here because I'm bringing it up. But that little cartoon I always share. It's exactly what they're doing. And they're doing it in a sense like. And Andre did that video, and that's exactly what it is. They think they're doing us a favor. They think they're doing something good for us. They think that we're the problem, and we need to learn to think differently.
This is eating broccoli. Really, is what it is.
Yeah, they think they're doing us a favor. And we just don't know what's good for us. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah, and you know why? That's because they look down upon us like stupid pleb that need to be told. Stupid, uneducated pleb.
Yeah, and
the great thing about it, though, is the one thing they can't control and the one thing they can't do is make people actually pay for their products. And so, like, ultimately, the consumer gets the last laugh because we can just say, well, we're not buying your shit. And then you go out of business, you lose your job. And someone else ultimately will step in to start producing things that people want. It's a market that still has demand, but people will only buy the things that they actually enjoy.
Well, and JC brings up a point. It's like, and that's how this shit is marketed. Look at Dark Fate. What did Tim, what's his face, the director, Tim
Miller?
He come right out and said that, oh, this is gonna scare the fuck out of the misogynists and all that shit. It's like, what are you really accomplishing with a fucking line like that? I don't understand.
I think that's a case of like trying to protect your own ass and being like, well, I know my movie's shit, and so I'm trying to protect against potential criticism here. If people criticize it, it's because they're misogynists. No other reason.
I think that's a case of that one sentence had a big part in sinking that movie. Not the only thing, but I think that
it makes me wonder, because obviously, in our circles we were quite aware of it, but like, did general audiences hear that? Did the average person on the street like know that he'd said that and think, fuck this guy, I'm not going to go see his movie? I
think more importantly, it was killing John Connor within the first 10 minutes.
That was a big.
Oh yeah, that's
and welcome, Anna. So we figured we were talking to you so much in the chat, we might as well just bring you on.
Oh, thank you. Spoiler alert for Terminator.
Oh, you haven't seen it?
No.
It's in the first 2 minutes.
You don't need to now. You don't need to.
It's literally in the first. I mean, we're not even exaggerating in hyperbolic way. It's like the movie opens, John Connor and Sarah sitting there enjoying a moment. All of a sudden, here's Arnold comes in, blows his ass away. That's the first 2 minutes of the movie. They make Sarah Connor an fucking failure in the first 2 minutes.
And they turn the T100 into the T100?
The T800.
T800. Yeah. And they turn him into an emasculated interior decorator.
What?
Yeah. No, for reals.
For real.
He like watches football games and owns a dog, and he has a drapery business. And he has opinions about interior design. Like,
he's in a sexual
relationship with a woman.
Yeah.
Oh my god!
I think he does cover that at one point. He's like, "Our relationship was not physical."
Haha! Yeah, we're gonna make your hero an asexual interior decorator. Ha ha ha!
No wonder it failed.
We're gonna pick the gate. We're gonna listen. If you're an interior decorator, I don't mean this as a slight, but they picked the gayest occupation for him.
But yeah, you could happily never watch Dark Fate for the rest of your life, and you would miss nothing.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to now.
No, you're not missing anything. Terminator Sega Genesis was better.
We just saved you 2 hours of your life, Anna.
Thank you.
You're quite welcome.
Which is sad, because actually Linda Hamilton does a great job in the film, but she has zero to fucking work with. She gets some really shitty lines to work with, and just the whole concept.
It's so funny that she refused to do Terminator 3 because she was like, I would need to have a really good script in order to come back and put in all that work to get in shape again. And she's passed that up, but then she comes back for this, which is when she's like 60 years old.
Yeah, I think this one paid more.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Oh, I doubt she needed money. When she divorced Cameron, I bet she got a pretty payday.
Oh, yeah.
Well, then maybe she just wants, I don't know, to have one last run at it.
Because she's pretty much been retired for like the last 20 years. She'll pop up in guest spots here and there, but this is the first time they've actually got her to do a full film like this. This was kind of a big deal, and they screwed it all up.
They probably kissed her ass to get her to say yes.
Oh, God, I bet. They paid her a lot, I bet. I bet you a third of the fucking budget probably was to pay her to get her, because they had to get something to get the butts in the seats.
Yeah. They probably said to Arnold as well, like, you can just do the bare minimum, my friend. You can just rock up in your t-shirt and board shorts and just do a couple of scenes, and then you can fuck off home again. Okay.
Yeah,
collect $10 million.
So yeah.
Who would have thought that the highlight of the Terminator sequels after Part 2 was going to be Terminator 3?
Did you ever notice everything at some point that Emilia Clarke touches turns to shit? I mean, she was in Terminator Genesis. She was in Solo. I mean, is she the killer?
She in Game of Thrones too?
Yeah, she is the perfect example of someone who just doesn't fit in any genre. I could see her maybe doing like a drama or a rom-com or something, but trying to make her an action star, nope, that doesn't work.
This is a true statement here. I wish this is what should have been her big comeback.
Yeah.
They should have got her in like the Expendables. That would have been fucking amazeballs. Her and Sigourney. That would have been awesome. But we got a bunch of super chats I think we should try and catch up on here, Andre.
Yeah, we
real
have
quick here. And then move on to our next topics.
Yeah, exactly.
Let me just say one last thing about Terminator Dark Fate. Nobody, you kill John Connor in the first 10 minutes, and then you have a little 5'1" girl be the chosen one who barely can lift a rifle. Really? I'm going to fight. Ugh, can someone help me with this? I mean, come on, really?
Well, and it would have been very easy to fix the film, and I've said it a million times over. And they could have actually had, Edward Furlong in the movie. You just have it set up that, they stopped Judgment Day or whatever, or, well, they didn't stop it, but they prolonged it or whatever. Well, and basically, so you have this situation where John Connor was raised to be this, leader and fighting a war that never happened. So now he's this fat drunk, who's a divorcee or something like that. And his kid is actually now the, next one. And he sacrifices himself to save his daughter, leaving Sarah Connor to train her to be the leader of the, the resistance. It just passes down the torch.
I think I've said this before about the Terminator movies, and sorry to dwell on this topic, but after the second one, there's just really nowhere you can go with it apart from just rehashing the same idea. Another Terminator gets sent back in time, and they have to stop it, and they have to protect someone. It's like, it's been done before. You can't keep doing the same thing.
Terminator is a good movie. It's not a franchise.
No, it's not, and that's what we keep saying. It's basically Arnold Schwarzenegger, and that's where I keep saying, like, if you want to take it to this next level, that's what you had to do, is kind of, whether you give him a son or a daughter, it doesn't really fucking matter. But my point is, you just have to kind of elongate the story, set it up differently, make the Connors the point of the story now, because that's how you carry this franchise through, because once you lose that, then there's nothing left but Arnold, and you can't continue to hang it up on a guy who's pushing his 70s now.
All right. Well, I gotta jump. Okay, so I'll be
for my love.
Yes, for your love, and only for your love, Tom.
All right.
Okay. Well, before I go, actually, Mecca's closing in on 60,000 subscribers. Let's see if we can make that happen. Okay, people. Before we, and we'll see you on Midnight's Edge After Dark. Drinker, always good. Anna, always good talking to you.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
And everybody have a great rest of the day. I'm going to go hunt some squirrels. So
take care.
Good luck, man.
They've invaded my garage. I've been setting traps for them. So
Roseanne against the Terminator, that'd be a different movie here. Tara Wombat just put all kinds of things in my mind.
All right. See you guys.
Take care.
Bye.
Awesome. Yeah. Okay. Right. So Drinker. Before, while we still have you, we'll get to super chats in momentarily. But while we still have you here, Drinker. So, what do you think of the Mandalorian and Rosario Dawson, who's also getting slammed on Twitter for just being too good in it, isn't she?
I think the amount of hatred towards her is just ridiculous, and I know it's because of like a couple of totally unfounded accusations that were retracted like years ago, but like that kind of thing just lingers around her, and it's so unfair. But I thought she was great as Ahsoka Tano. Like, I'm not an expert in that character by any means, but I think her look was good. The way she conducted herself was great. She was badass in the fight scenes. I think that episode has been the highlight of the season so far for me. This season has been quite slow to find its feet. And I think it needs to stop relying on Baby Yoda being cute and Mando looking kind of cool when he walks around and actually start to do stuff. And this was the first episode where I really felt like it was doing that. And it feels like it's tying it into the larger universe quite effectively. So, yeah, I really like Rosario Dawson in the role.
Anna, have you seen the latest episodes of?
Of course, I saw the latest.
I figured, but I just wanted to make sure. I just wanted to make sure that we didn't get into spoilers if you hadn't.
No, whenever Baby Yoda is on screen, I'm watching it.
I just wanted to make sure, but yeah, like, so what? Anyway, because I wanted to ask Drinker what he thought of the Grogu revelation.
Oh, you mean Goku knockoff 2.0?
I think the name Grogu is a play on George. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah, I thought of Goku. The episode was okay. I was slightly disappointed just because I know it's just like a little technical nitpick, but her Laku are way too short. And so one of the things about her species is they don't have hair of any kind. So she's not even supposed to have eyelashes. That I can, she's a human, can't get rid of those. But they're supposed to be longer, especially at her age, and that kind of signifies how old they are. So the fact that they're shorter now in The Mandalorian when she's in her 40s as compared to when she's a teenager in the Clone Wars, it took me out of it instantly. And then to see the artist say, oh, it's because of the effects. But then you go back and you watch the fight scenes and it's all dark. It's very choppy the way that they cut it. And so they could have done it and they didn't. So that to me is just lazy. But I like the fact that they're setting it up to take part of what happened at the end of Rebels, which was that Ahsoka and Sabine were going and looking for Ezra and Thrawn. So I'm happy that they're finally going and, you know, Thrawn's going to be seen so people can stop saying, oh, it's just an EU character. So we'll actually get to see Thrawn. And I liked the jab at The Last Jedi.
Yeah, that was when they were talking about the Force takes years to master and dedicate training. Yeah, that was
so.
brilliant.
Yeah, Drinker. I was curious. So, what were your feelings then on all the revelations in this episode?
I'm happy with it for the most part. I mean, I guess Baby Yoda had to be given a name at some point, so this is as good as any. The Thrawn thing, yeah, like not being too invested in the Clone Wars, it didn't have as much significance for me, but I can understand why people are going to find that interesting. So yeah.
Thrawn's not really in the Clone Wars. He's more of the expanded universe, like in Timothy Zahn's novels. And then he was brought in Rebels, but they kind of made a joke of him in Rebels.
Yeah, because there's the Thrawn trilogy of books, isn't there? And they were meant to be really popular.
Yeah, so those are the ones that if you're going to get into the EU, if you want to do after Return of the Jedi, is to read Thrawn. And then there's a Thrawn duology that takes place 10 years after the trilogy takes place, and they're all fantastic.
Cool.
Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah. I mean, I did have a little bit of an issue with, obviously Baby Yoda being at the temple, being part of the Jedi, and then being whisked away and hidden like the twins. So is that what Yoda means when he says, no, there is another? I had a really crazy night.
No, that's what I thought. I was like, so you're telling me, because at first she's like, I've only seen one of his kind. And I'm like, what about Yaddle?
I was going to say, there's no chance in hell it's not Yoda's baby. There's just no chance.
You're telling me that you have a male and a female at the Jedi Temple of a very rare, one of the rarest Star Wars character species, and there just happens to be a baby there as well. Give me a break. We know what they did.
But actually, the funny thing is I have more of a problem with Ahsoka not coming up during the original trilogy now than I do Baby Yoda. Because at least Baby Yoda, I can see he's still technically an infant. They obviously can't go to him yet. Yeah. So like it makes sense that he's still hidden and they didn't do anything with him. And then, of course, the Empire got a hold of him at some point. We know that. But no, I like Ahsoka. That was my issue with her. Seeing her is like, okay, they could have really used her, in the original trilogy. Where was she? That was my big question through the whole thing.
They kind of touched on that she was doing stuff with Bail Organa. So if you read the Ahsoka book, it kind of explains when she goes off.
I don't do homework.
Okay, I'll explain.
No,
so she was kind of Bail Organa's like secret agent. And so she would go off and do missions because it was vital for her to stay as far away from Vader as possible and to stay away from the Emperor, because if she got anywhere near them, they would be able to sense her. So she had to stay on, the outer rim and even go into, the unknown parts of the galaxy to do missions for Bail, and then to go and find Force-sensitive children and protect them because the Emperor was like seeking out and killing them or using them for like Sith assassins and stuff. So they touched on it in the books. I don't know if they're canon anymore.
Right, but see, and I don't know if Drinker wants to comment on this at all too, but this is my problem when you get into prequels and trying to create a universe that happened before something, is it really kind of boxes you in, and then you're kind of like, but wait a minute, where was so-and-so when this was going on then? I don't know how you feel about that, Drinker. I
mean, from the point of view of the Mandalorian universe, like I can accept it. Like Anna's saying, you can come up with a million different explanations for she was off on some mission somewhere, she was in hiding, she was in a coma, like it could be anything really. And
she shot JR.
Yeah, exactly. And then the point is, like, okay, this is a character that was significant in the past. She's obviously been retconned in long after the OT was made. We'll just assume she was doing other things that weren't part of that story and we didn't see. But she's here now, and that's fine for me.
Yeah, I
That's
would
fair
agree
enough.
with that. She's
Yeah.
like, she was created later, and I fully buy the thing that we have to make an excuse for absence, so Vader would censor, so she had to like stay the hell away for that reason. I'll buy that. I'll accept that one because I know they have to come up with something.
Yeah.
Well, the one thing with the Mandalorian that I was really like angry about was the whole Mandalorians have to keep their mask on, because all throughout Clone Wars, even, you know, if you get into KOTOR, nowhere ever has that ever been a thing for Mandos. So for them to answer that in the second season, I was like, okay, because that was my biggest frustration with the series. So it's shown me that at least John can go back and he can set something up and then have the answer for it later. So if they're going to answer for that later, I can be okay with that since they've already done that now. So I have a little bit more trust in them.
And I like the idea that Mando is part of this like weird kind of sect of Mandalorians where they're like super orthodox and like he never takes his helmet off and they're having arguments over which one is the correct way. I think that gets around the problem pretty easily. I'm not desperate for him to keep taking his helmet off though, because I think he looks cooler with it. You know, I don't need to see his face to kind of understand from his gestures and his postures and like the way he kind of talks to people how he's feeling. So I'm fine with him keeping it on.
The more they do that,
I agree. I love how the stuntman is like making an emote for him like that. Like
well, I was just gonna say,
like that.
Yeah, it adds to the whole man with no name kind of thing. When the less we know about him, or the less they kind of reveal of his face and all that kind of stuff in his background, kind of thing. But I don't know. I like the show for the most part, so I can't bitch.
It's undemanding. That's what I would say about it. Like, you know, each week it's a self-contained little adventure for the most part. Like, there's nothing mind-bendingly complex about it. It's all pretty standard stuff, but it's kind of good action, and you can just kind of sit back and enjoy it, I suppose. Like, it's much like the first season in that respect. Like, it doesn't do anything crazy and ambitious, but it doesn't do anything terrible either. It's just kind of meh, fine.
Put it another way, just what the doctor ordered.
Right. And Anna, have you got the remote control Baby Yoda yet? I saw that the other day.
I don't want it. There's something about it that's not as cute. But do you guys? Have you guys been looking at those fan theories? Because right when I watched the Gina Carano episode of season 2, when they go to the Imperial base and then they see the specimen in the tank, and people are trying to say that that's Snoke. Do you guys see any merit in the theory that they're just trying to like fix everything that happened in the sequel trilogy by giving Snoke a backstory and trying to make sense of all of that in the Mando?
I hope they don't. I hope they
distance
themselves as much as possible from the sequel trilogy.
Yeah, that's what I hope too. Yeah.
I almost got the impression that they were just going to pretend that nothing in that is going to happen, because they're a fair distance away from it, like chronologically, so they can probably just try and ignore it, I suppose.
It would be hilarious.
Yeah, I think
if they bring him on and then they kill him off on screen.
I think most people think it's Dark Troopers anyway, so I think that's been the...
Yeah, I just saw once that episode aired, it was all over my timeline, just, this is Snoke, it's Snoke, it's Snoke. And I was like, are they really going to try to be doing that? I hope not, but if they are going to try to...
Apparently, their Snoke theme was in the background, is what I keep on hearing. Of course, I wouldn't notice, because that would have to require going back to watch the Rise of Skywalker.
I was going to say, I don't remember any new themes in the new series except for Rey's crappy new theme.
Did you guys
John
notice
Williams
that,
seemed like barely like to write, but anyway, sorry, Anna, go.
Oh no, Gina Carano's theme is very similar to Princess Leia's theme, since they're both from Alderaan.
Do you what do you think on the rumor that they're setting her up for her own spin-off that's it's going to be like the New Republic kind of thing?
I don't know if Gina Carano has time to do her own series.
I'm sure she would make the time if offered.
Yeah.
Maybe, but just, I mean, she seems to be pretty busy and she's got stuff going on in her actual life. I don't know if she would be if they would do that, maybe her and Apollo Creed have their own spinoff. But I think I think right now they're just going to focus on getting the Leslie Headland, the whole all female centric Star Wars. So originally me and Jessie were talking about this, and when I explained to her the whole end of Rebels, and she's just like, oh, well, that's perfect. If the female spinoff is Ahsoka and Sabine going and finding Ezra and Thrawn. So there you go, a show with 2 female leads, and they're going, a Mandalorian and a Jedi, going to go find a Chiss and, you know, a Jedi apprentice somewhere in the unknown regions of space. That to me is, I think, what they're going to be focusing on, especially since they already did the announcement with Leslie Headland.
Yeah,
Okay.
well, I mean, they're doing all kinds of spin-offs. We know that because, like, this last episode was obviously kind of a backdoor pilot for an Ahsoka show and stuff like that. But I know Drinker has to get going here soon. Andre, did we have any super chats that were directed at him before he does go?
I'm gonna check real quickly. I'm sure that there's a few, so that we can get into those specifically.
Hopefully they're not death threats again.
Only a couple, I think.
Probably the ones that want you to watch movies or something, like more Australian obscure westerns. The Condor Out of Space sends $2 for the Drinker to help recoup the booze fund.
Thank you. It's not going to go to me, but it's appreciated anyway.
Well, we'll have to figure something out for you.
Yeah,
No, don't worry about this.
Yeah, I'll hook you up with some Norwegian moonshine, just to give you some variety.
Yeah, nice one.
Yeah. That's the one that was explicitly mentioning the Drinker.
That's
Well,
the nice
yeah,
one.
So I owe you some Norwegian moonshine, so just keep tabs on it.
Next time I'm in Norway, Andre, I'll look you up and we'll go out drinking a bit.
Sounds awesome. Or next time I'm in Scotland, because that has been known to happen.
Oh, well, cool. Let me know.
Oh, yeah, and here, Max Relax just sent €5. One last super chat for the Drinker. Cheers.
Thank you, Max Relax.
And Drinker, thanks so much for joining us. It's always a blast, and we're so glad you could join us today, and we look forward to having you on the next time.
Likewise, it's a pleasure, guys. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Take care.
All right, see you then. It's great to see you again, Anna.
So, Anna, before we get into the remaining super chats, let's get a little bit back into the dumpy goth daughter of Starfire, because you did a fix of that artwork on Twitter. Like you did a video where you did like a paint over in 10 minutes, and you posted that, and of course you caught hell for it. What did you tell us about what went down there?
Oh my God. You mean the never ending hell train that is my Twitter mentions? So
it's like, what is the drama going on with Anna on Twitter? The drama with Anna on Twitter this
that's all
week.
it seems.
You need a theme.
It's gotten kind of crazy because Cecil's account has actually gotten, I don't know if it's suspended or deleted, but it says this account doesn't exist anymore because he saw what was going on. Yeah, he made a comment, and the chick said that he was threatening her. And he's like, he was talking about the cartoon.
You're going to have to give me a way to get a hold of him because he's our guest Friday. And that's the only way I have getting a hold of him.
I think you can still DM him.
I hope so.
I'll have to check. But so basically what happened was I had no intention of doing a redraw on this. I saw it. I thought it was dumb. I was thinking maybe I'll do a video, but I kind of have something I'm working on that absolutely needs to get finished. So I was like, I don't really have time. And then Cecil messaged me. He's like, hey, are you going to do a quick redraw? And I was like, I don't really want to. Should I? And he's like, yeah, just do it. And I was like, fine. So
do it.
I was making my breakfast and I was waiting for it to get done cooking. So I drew it. I think it was actually in less than 10 minutes. It was very fast and just, basically scribbles. But the whole thing that I think a lot of people are frustrated by is Starfire has a kid. Okay, that's fine. She had a daughter, a Night Star, and that does not look anything like this thing that they have made now that are trying to pass as their daughter. But I was like, okay, if you want to do the concept of the parent's a superhero, the kid is not and is nothing like the parent, okay, fine. but you still have to look at how biology works. Starfire is not a human, she's an alien. She has orange skin. Even if the father is a human, she's still going to get features of the mother. So I, made her orange. I made her a lot lighter than Starfire is. I kept the goth. I literally just looked up goth, like thick goth chicks is what I typed in. Found a couple different girls that had this style. So I picked the best things about each one and I put it into this design because honestly, no girl, even if she is thicker, is going to want to dress like that, to have it be like that. So I drew her the way thicker girls dress to, show off their bodies in a flattering way. And then it was, the usual people threw temper tantrums about it. But then professional concept artists saw it and have been throwing temper tantrums saying, I'm a terrible person because I'm attacking an artist. And I'm like, you all do paint overs. All know exactly that this is the process. And when you're working in the industry and you're working with someone and you're on an art team, the art director, they don't care. They don't care about your feelings. They go up and say, here, no, do this. And they'll scribble all over your work. And they say, these are the things that are good. These are the things that need to fix. And then you go back to the drawing board, you draw it again, you come back, they do another edit, you do it until it gets perfect. That's the way it works, and that's the way it's always been, whether you go to art school or you're working in the industry. That's how it works, but they're all pretending like that's not a thing, and I'm this terrible embodiment of evil. And so my Twitter feed has just been all of these concept artists, people that worked on Doctor Strange or big concept artists at Marvel or in DC or just all throughout the spectrum have just been saying that I'm this terrible person. Like, you're attacking an artist. And I'm like, the art is like, the actual quality of the art is fine. It's the concept that I have a problem with.
Yeah, it's the general design, not the execution, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Can't please.
Well, I think everyone. A lot of it is they're just getting jealous of the fact that you and other people who keep doing these redesigns are getting more attention and more positive attention.
That's
I think is the biggest problem. Like. Yeah. Well, so
someone that I guess I went to school with, he had messaged me a year ago on Instagram and was very kind to me. And then I didn't remember him or know who he was, but he did this post that Anna is she's so hateful and she's a terrible person, a terrible artist. Like, dude, I don't even know you. Like, how can you say that about me? And then it's just going on and on about how terrible I am. And so I think he's trying to get back into the good graces because apparently he watched all of our videos and was, I guess, exiled in a way. And so now he's trying to get under the good graces of all of the, the mainstream artists. And so he linked.
Oh yeah, good luck with that. Once you're out, you're out.
Well, he linked my video and he's been going around saying, oh, Anna's not professional. Anna's not professional. I'm like, I don't advertise where I work for this very specific reason. And I don't show my professional work for this very specific reason. But it's just been an absolute hell 24 hours and it's not stopped. But so now, because my video got linked, people are going and they're looking at it and they're just like, they only watch the first minute because the first thing I say is that the author self-inserted herself and she's a hateful person, and hateful people, when a hateful person walks into a room, they want to make everyone else feel miserable because they can't stand it when somebody's happy and they're not, because then they, it makes them self-reflect and see their own shortcomings. So they want to make everyone in the room miserable, which is
that's exactly this whole movement. Exactly. I think you're onto something there.
Well, so that's what I said. But then the person's like, you kept talking about hate and hate and hate. And I'm like, so you watched the first minute of the video because I only talked about that in the first minute. But so he made this whole thing and then everyone's like, you're this hateful bitch and da 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 da. So that's my Twitter mentions right now. But what do you guys think?
I mean, I'm kind of like, honestly, we talked about it a little bit before you got here. So, I mean, we kind of set our feelings on the matter. But as far as like your design in comparison, it's sad that you should even have to do this. Like, I mean, this shouldn't be the world of comic books. Now, I'm not saying that characters of all shapes and sizes shouldn't exist in all kind of art forms. That's fine. But this forced crap is just becoming... I mean, I think it's funny that you guys, like you especially, and like I said, a few other artists who have done the same things, are getting more attention than a lot of these other artists and you're getting it for the right reasons and they're getting the attention for the wrong reasons. And I'm sure that's what turns them off. and gets
Probably.
them all pissy with you, and it's hilarious in my opinion, because in my heart of hearts I'm a troll. So
What I would say about the art is that your paint over Anna, that looks like the daughter of Starfire. It really does. And then, of course, one can argue about the rest and the entire concept and all that. But your paint over looks like Starfire's daughter, whereas the original art, and I do not blame the original artist for this, but she looks like the daughter of Danny DeVito's Penguin.
Yeah. Well, and see, that's it's not the artist's fault, because artists, you get hired and you have to do what you're told if you want to get paid. She got a job, she got paid for it. That's completely fine. I'm sure she doesn't have any control over the concept because she's getting hired.
you sure?
Yeah. Well, I mean, she can pick out the outfit and stuff.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm thinking these people have a little bit more control than we think, and that's where a lot of this crap's coming from.
No,
and I
so
think it's a
what-
lot of because of they don't get the resistance you normally would get. I could be wrong though.
Well, so what usually happens if you're an artist and you're working with a writer is the writer says, this is the story, this is the premise, and this is the character. There'll be some like discrepancies about height and hair color and eye color and stuff like that if it's important to the story. I mean, even though they're DC, I don't know if they're doing it like by writing it the Marvel way or if they're doing this full script and, all of that first. But it's her fault because she drew herself. No. She didn't draw herself. The artist looks nothing like this. That's the author, which is why I think what happened is that
okay, gotcha.
the artist got hired. And then the author said, this is what I want her to look like. And these are the aspects. And then I kind of want her to have this kind of expression. And so the artist just did what she's told. And then,
right. I got you here now. I get where you're
that's
coming
what
from
I
here in
think
this
too, because
respect,
again, yeah, because like again, you're completely right. Like the character here, she doesn't look like the artist. She looks like the writer. This is a self-insert from the writer, and the freedom that the artist had, I would imagine, is in the visual presentation of the writer's self-insert.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. And that's what I and many others have a problem with. It's nothing against the actual artist. She's just doing her job. It's, it is what it is at this point.
Yeah. Because like your artwork, that's like the one that would have made more sense in terms of being Starfire's actual daughter. But that's not the point here. The point is that this is one author's or writers, because I don't know if do we even want to degrade the term author on this, but basically the writer's vision here is to project herself into the story and tell her own personal story against the backdrop of DC superheroes. Like I remember back in the 90s when I would read American comics from our one specialized retailer that would get a comic straight from the States, and then the Marvel comics at the time, they had this thing where you could send some money and you could have a comic personalized and basically get yourself drawn into the comic. To me, this seems like the pro version of that. So the job was clearly draw the author, the writer into the stories.
You hit the nail on the head, Andre. That's what this shit feels like to me. This feels like basically fan fiction gone mad. Like people who've actually got to this point where, yeah, you are actually in the building, you've gotten in there, you're in DC, you're in Marvel, but what you do instead of actually working with characters that, everybody would love and dream of working with their whole lives, like Batman, Superman, Spider-Man, Hulk, etc., you decide to do this shit.
Yeah. Tom,
it's this
we got
self-fulfilling prophecy, basically.
We got a request from Tickle Drunk. Show the writer again.
Oh, God. You're going to make me show that shit again?
Yeah, show the writer. Come on now, let's be polite. Let's not body shame. But so everyone can see what we're talking about. Show the writer again.
Oh, Lord. Here we go. Hang on.
So just so everyone knows not to blame the artist. The artist did, if anything, the artist did a great job in making the writer more presentable,
if you want to call it that. Here we go.
Fan of collaboration. I think collaboration is actually a really underrated element of being an artist. I think we tend to think of artists as being solo creatures, and mostly we are, but so much of artwork, so much of writing, like most writers work with editors. You know, when you think of movies, how many people work together to make a movie? So I
get some
love
pretension in
artists
there
where
as well.
the things
Perfect.
that I make are a result of my inspirations and my passions and the passions of someone else.
Is it my fault that she decided to go through life looking like she blew Papa Smurf? That's not my fault. That's a choice. It's not like, you know, she was born that way. Just saying.
Oh yeah.
Hey, it's kind of like, look, I noticed this thing where we were talking amongst some of us in a group chat, and they brought up this thing where people are actually shaming this girl for losing weight. And I'm like, please tell me you guys will shame me if I ever start to lose weight. I need that kind of
didn't
support.
that happen with Adele? People were pissed that she's skinny
Yeah,
now.
yeah. They were super pissed. They were super pissed at her for taking the healthy course of action and using the resources that she had at her disposal, that many people, working people out there, simply don't have. That she put some of those resources to good use, and were able to sort out her day and a schedule and trainer and all of those things so as to improve her health. And rather than getting like congratulations and stuff like that, she got hell for it, because it was
Rebel Wilson too.
yeah, because she was, and Rebel Wilson got it even worse. Oh, she got it much worse, because they were like so important figures in the whole body positivity movement, and then they went and they sold out and they got healthy, and that was bad.
Right, exactly. I mean, of course I was being sarcastic, but I mean, no, it's very true. I mean, and I don't get it. I don't understand this. I mean, what happened to this world? It's like, why can't you be positive for somebody to want to be healthy? I just don't get it. Sorry, you were going to say something, Anna.
Oh no, it blows my mind. So when I was in college, I had a roommate. She literally looked like a Barbie doll. She was skinny and, you know, blonde hair, green eyes, big boobs. Like, she looked like a Barbie doll. And she would get skinny shamed all the time. Like, if she posted like a picture of her and her boyfriend going out on Valentine's Day, I remember, because she borrowed one of my red dresses and she just posted a picture, and all of the comments were just other girls just, you know, saying the meanest things about her, because they're like, you're making me feel self-conscious. How dare you post something like that? It's like, she just posted like a picture of herself because she looked cute. Like, there's not, like, she didn't mean any harm in it. And it broke my heart, because she was the nicest person ever. But it's a serious thing. These girls, I don't get it. Why, you know, they're so insecure about themselves that they hate anything that they think looks better than them, if that makes sense.
No, Mecca has brought that very point up. She has said that's what it is. It's this mentality that, you know, they got to tear down anyone they think is better looking than them because they feel threatened.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, the whole idea of, you know, they want to make this the norm. It's like, it's our fault we're not attracted to this.
Well, I mean, I feel like every single comic book character, now that they announce like the new ones, they're either like a person of color, they're part of the alphabet community, or they're a certain weight. And you can't get somebody that looks like a superhero anymore. And I don't think they understand that when you're a superhero, it's because no one in the world can do what this person does, which is why they are the superhero. And they're supposed to be the best embodiment of what a human can be. Or alien, I guess, but they don't get that. So this whole thing with Starfire, if you're gonna do it and have, you know, Starfire had a baby with a human, and it's not like Nightstar. So I did the whole backstory that, oh well, genes sometimes from aliens and humans don't mix very well, which is why she's different and she has issues, but she's got to overcome them. You know, if you're going to do that, you have to make up a backstory. And their backstory
They don't think that way, though. See, they think the other way around. They think the opposite way. It's, how do I put myself into this character?
it doesn't make any sense to me, because if you want to make a character relatable, and, you got to give them something for us to like aside from their style and their sexuality. Because if you're the only thing about you is that interesting is that the person that you're sleeping with or what clothes you put on your back, I mean, you're probably a really boring person.
Right. Andre, I know we have some super chats to catch up on. Should
we
get
do
to
have
those
some
real quick?
super
Because there
chats.
was,
let's
if we
get
do have
to
time,
those.
there was another story I did want to jump into quick too.
Yeah.
Otherwise, but yeah, I know you had a few things you wanted to talk about.
Yeah, we may have to delay that for later, but
May
we'll
have
do
to.
the super chats. Yeah. We have a list here. Plebeian for £5 said, "Hail from Birmingham, UK. I've been in Birmingham. It's a nice city. The SJW tried to take over 2000 AD in the comics, but the owners Millennium yeeted them from the TV, film, and video games. Hail CG. Hail critical hail CG." And Nikki D says, "Seriously, who is the target audience for this book? Based on the synopsis, only a small specific demographic might read this thing." And Crimson ID4 for $10, thank you so much, said, "I could have sworn we already met Starfire's gay daughter way back in 2003 when she joined a ragtag group of runaways and helped them escape from an evil cult." Maybe, I wouldn't know. Max Relax said, "Here's some more wampum to keep the show alive." Well, thank you. That wampum does indeed keep the show alive. So that's it. And Mr. Tickle Trunk sent us a little kitty for $2 Canadian. So thanks so much. And Cesario JPN says, "So can we at least assume Starfire cucked Nightwing in this book? Doubt this would be the union between them. That or Raven did some weird hex spell." I mean, I was thinking that too. Like in
Maybe she's adopted.
mythology, we have like this expression, "bytting." I think you may have something similar, changeling.
Yeah, like I said, or maybe she's adopted.
Yeah, that would be the polite way of putting it. And Fat Steven Seagal beat up, and I can't see who he beat up in my screen here, but he beat up someone deserving, I'm certain. Says, "Fatfire, aka Mandy, insults glad garbage bags." And Alex Acerra for $14.99, thank you so much, saying, "I crave representation and diversity, but this is snowflake and safe space level schlock."
Yeah,
Goes right back to what is Antilogic's woke vid. Thank God I like the D and V. Chicks like her mean no settle. And Taker 610 says, "Wonder Woman 84 is going to be an unmitigated dumpster fire? Question mark. And we'll see. We'll know in just a few weeks."
Yeah.
And Imperial Lumpia says, "For Pete's sake, Land Before Time is about freaking dinosaurs. I'll bet a bunch of us identified with those characters as kids." LOL. Yeah, that's true. That's so true.
I love Land Before Time.
Yeah, I love the first one. That was awesome.
Yeah, that's
the other 15.
Did you guys watch like the 10th one?
No,
I only saw the first one.
I've only seen the first one. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, the 10th one. So you finally get to meet Littlefoot's dad, and he has the best answer for why he's been gone in all of the movies and why he wasn't there in the first movie.
Oh, do share.
So I guess because he went scouting, he went ahead of them because Littlefoot hadn't hatched yet. So he's like, "I can't, we can't all go. So I'm going to go. I'm going to go find the Great Valley. I'm going to come back. I'm going to get you guys all, and I'm going to lead you there safely." So he went off to look for it. He finds it. He comes back. He finds the mom's dead body and everything destroyed and all the eggs smashed. So he thinks his entire family died. And so he's like, "What the hell?" So he just is depressed and he goes wandering and he runs into this herd of longnecks and he's like, "Well, I have nothing left to go back to, so I might as well just live with them." And so he becomes the leader of a herd of longnecks, and then they randomly migrate to the Great Valley 10 movies later, and that's when he meets Littlefoot and sees that his entire family wasn't actually dead.
Wow.
Huh. Oh, well, that's cool.
So we just need to skip to the 10th film. Good to know.
well, no, I like the other ones, but I was like, wow, that's a great answer because I've been thinking my whole life either Littlefoot's dad is a deadbeat or he died. But I was like, no, that was actually a legit answer for why.
I was gonna say I thought they always kind of insinuated like Sharptooth killed him or whatever, but yeah.
My takeaway is the same. You can go from 1 to 10, and you're good, right?
Yeah, but you got youngins. I'm sure they'll make you watch all 9 in between. There,
No.
or 8 in
The
between.
the second one is good because that's when you get to meet Chomper, and then I like the first 6 are really good. Then when you get to the big freeze or the big water, just stop, and then skip to the 10th.
It's way too much, but yeah. I'm moving on. Says, hi gents, one of the most negative, positive body representation we have seen. Nothing joyful or celebratory. We're all different. This book is sad. And Mr. Tickletrunks super chat was read by the drinker already, so thanks again for the $20 super chat. We really appreciate that. And John Miller sent, I never understood this push for the wider audience unicorn. It seems to cost them more customers than gain them. Oh hell yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, it used to be that if something was good like Star Wars, it would go beyond its normal scope of an audience. You know, I mean, and that's what you hope for is you shoot for, what you can get, which is your main audience for whatever, genre you're working in. And if you can go beyond that, hey, that's great. But you shouldn't, and that's where Star Trek made a huge mistake is they thought they could bring J.J. Abrams in and make it a 4-quadrant, franchise, which it already kind of was, but in a sense, like, to where it could go way beyond its boundaries and just
sad was that they were almost there, and then they screwed it up in the second movie by having it released 2 years
to be fair, there was a lot of seeds sown already in the first film.
But anyway, that was the path not taking. Moving on, Moon Ghost McQueen says, please Google current Suicide Squad roster in the comics. That should be fun. Let's do that at some point. And a wall for $10. Thank you so much. Says, I know the writer, not figuratively, but literally put herself in the book. However, it might have been interesting if it was put off as the daughter of the Penguin. Just saying. That's what it should have been, given the look of it. And for another $5 says, even the way the cover is made is negative. She's unhappy. Almost embarrassed to be Starfire. And Tonnerster Tree says, these analytics are trends, not what lasts. These are the same folks that promoted Firefest. And Anna,
oh shit.
Yeah. And Anna Falkenstahl says, the younger generations usually don't have money to buy things, but they do have time on their hands to complain. So, yeah, like a smiley figure. Yeah, complaining. You certainly got that, Anna, didn't you?
Oh my god. I'm just like, don't you guys have work to do?
No, they don't.
No, this is their work. And the way that the economy is right now, no, they probably don't, and they're not going to have for a very long time to come either.
Right.
I know, because it just doesn't stop, and then it's the same people over and over again. It's like, I know it's later in the night, but go get some work done.
Yeah. And Buskill sent us $9.99. Thank you so much, saying, when everyone's special, everything sucks. And Crimson ID4 says, did the media make such a huge deal when the Wachowskis transition? Oh, yeah, they did. They
a little bit, yeah.
Deal about it. Yeah. And Fat Steven Seagal beat up again. I can't see who, but I'm sure whoever has it coming. So Michael Cera impregnated a man now. C.O. Juno.
Yeah, we read that one earlier.
Yeah. And Jay Bird for $10, thank you so much, says, if the 80s was about being greedy by creating value and improving oneself, I say that's healthier and more honest than today's SJWs, who find fulfillment by manipulating and destroying others. Yeah, true words were never spoken. You'll like this one, Anna, because this came when we were talking about you. The Candor Out of Space says, I'm straight. and I'd bone Henry Cavill.
Uh-huh.
And The Wall says, wonder if I can look at that picture and generate a better story in 20 seconds or less. Obviously referring to the cover we've been seeing all day.
Yeah, well, Anna kind of did already in her interpretation, I think. So there you
Indeed.
go.
Yeah, I wrote. It's very badly typed because I can't type with these stupid nails on. But yeah, I was like, how would this work? How on earth would Starfire and Dick Grayson produce this? And I did.
Yeah, that's and The Wall. He sent us 2 more super chats of his that I can see right now. So one of them saying again, 20-second plot fix. Go. You just got it from
That
from
was
Anna.
when I was doing my Terminator, because I tend to do that on Mead. I think it's becoming a thing.
Yeah. And he also said for $20, well, thank you so much. Like stuff like that is what keeps the light on here. He says, I saw that Terminator movie in theaters. After Connor got killed, 1/3 of the theater got up and walked out. I stayed 15
Wow.
minutes hoping for a sort of change, then I left.
Wow.
When I left, people were still arguing to get their money back.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's like one of the worst decisions.
No, if that ever happens to you in the theater, you're almost better off walking into another movie. You're less likely to get hassled, and they won't argue with you. And chances are you're not going to get your money back. You might get lucky enough to get passes, but unless there's a technical issue, they generally don't like to give out passes.
Yeah. Yeah. And Mr. Tickletrunk also had 2 super chats back to back saying, I don't want to see anyone like me in comics, movies, sci-fi. I'm a pasty, squishy 40-year-old that can't grow a proper beard. So, yeah. And then he remembered in the other one, wait, isn't Santa the only chubby male hero we have? Well, there's also Super Mario, isn't it?
Mario.
Yeah. And Nelson Sheretta says, if you don't like my politics, don't buy my books.
Okay,
there was an author that said that, wasn't it?
Sarkeesian.
Yeah, how is that working out for you? You have killed the comic book industry. Congratulations.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, indeed. And here is one that should have come or that we should have got to when Rob was here. So we'll make sure that he does it later. But for right now, you'll have to stand in, Tom. Blue Satoshi says, let's hear Rob's impression of Luigi, Wario, and Waluigi.
What's the last one?
Well, just do Mario and Luigi.
Hey Mario. Hey Luigi. I don't do him as good as Rob because he's
I know we need
so.
Rob. We need Rob for that.
He comes in and he does his little I'm a Mario. He does the whole thing. I don't know.
And I think it's probably cultural appropriation if you're like a good Irishman like you.
Yeah, I was gonna say because that's kind of where the joke comes from. Is because the first time I actually saw him, I'm like, it's Mario without the mustache.
Exactly.
He's like 3 feet tall and he needs some overalls, but he's good to go.
Yeah, there you go. And ActionCom says that Tim Miller comment harkens back to when movies were influential. No one told them they are irrelevant. And we are starting to reach the end now. And Greisur says Ghostbusters was good. Dark Fate was good. Femmes act naughty because they want daddy hands on them. Split the difference. Valpid 8 or Opin B dogmatic anti-feminist. Like it's written a little bit codified, so it's hard to read, but thanks anyway.
I think I get what he's kind of saying, but yeah, that's a bit too much to get into. But I think it's a bunch of the self-insert kind of stuff again with and personal issues being put into movies and comic books. I think is what he's trying to say.
Yeah, well, good message anyway. And A Mere Mortal says, I haven't seen season 2 yet, so no spoilers, please. Oh, you didn't get any, not in this show anyway, referring to The Mandalorian, I guess. And 427...
sorry.
Yeah, well, not too bad. And 427 R book says, dumb tangential question from a mega-tired brain with no filter. Would fan service aimed at chubby chasers be off-putting to people who aren't into that? Not to me, if it was made for comedy.
Yeah, like, I mean, there's already
If it was like serious from a point of view character, it would be off-putting. If it's like played for comedy relief, then yeah, bring it on.
I mean, I guess I'm trying to understand the question, because I understand the first part because that's my life. But no, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that if people are into that, but I don't even see how that's even attractive to somebody who's into bigger women, because like what Anna did, now that makes sense. Like, but because like you said, you accentuate, the positives and all that kind of stuff, the thing you work with what you got kind of thing, or however you put it, basically. And in your version, at least, it makes sense. In the version they give us, it's off-putting. And I mean, it again goes with this whole thing. I get it. They're trying to like do their personal, like, fuck the parents, fuck the, establishment bullshit. They think they're punk, but they don't understand it.
Yeah, I guess so. And moving on, Matt G says,
no sleep. Sorry.
Yeah, well, you can blame me for that because I keep you up working all night. And Matt G says, it is weird to have an arc that stretches from 2 shows to a 3rd show, but skips over a movie trilogy in the middle. Not just Ahsoka, but Mandalore, period. Maybe weird, but it is what it is. And Matthew Anderson says, Disney Thrawn is a mere husk compared to how he was in the EU. He's practically a different character.
I'll be able to speak to that.
Yeah, he really is. Because so they can't have the premise of Rebels. I don't know if you guys have watched it, but for people in the chat that haven't, it's about this kid, maybe 13 to 15 over the course of the series, that is Force sensitive. He runs into Kanan, who was a Jedi that survived Order 66 because he was still an apprentice. His master died in Order 66. He's been surviving and helping on the Outer Rim. They find each other, he starts training. And so, because they need a villain for the show, right? So there's like Sith Inquisitors, and then there's Thrawn. And the reason why they used Thrawn was because they couldn't have some nobody kid making a fool of Darth Vader. So they're like, what's a popular villain in Star Wars that we can use? Oh, it's Thrawn. Let's bring in Thrawn. Let's not give him any of his tactical genius that he had in the books, anything about him that made him such a sinister villain and, such an actual threat, because Thrawn was the one that was leading the Empire after the Emperor and Vader died. He was the one. And so he was a really big nemesis for Leia, who was, leading, the New Republic, and even Luke and all of that. And I feel like one of the things about Thrawn that people that didn't read the books, they don't really know too much, is that Luke had already fought his villains. He fought the Emperor, he fought Vader. So Thrawn, it was more of like a mental battle between him and Leia, and who could outsmart who and who was the better tactician. And so Leia was undermining Thrawn while Luke was doing other things with there's other things that don't have anything to do with what we're talking about, so I won't even bring that up. But Luke was doing something, it was really Thrawn versus Leia, and Leia had to outsmart Thrawn, which is absolutely fantastic the way that it all plays out. And the only reason Thrawn failed was because of a miscalculation, because of a friendship that Leia was able to form with an alien species. And that was what led to Thrawn's downfall. And it wouldn't have been possible with any other character except for Leia, because of her compassion and her understanding of diplomacy with other alien species. And that was what caused Thrawn's downfall. Not some 15-year-old kid that barely knows how to use the Force and is messing with Sith holocrons. That just makes a fool out of him every episode. But that's what happens when Dave Filoni gets a hold of beloved characters. So hopefully they can do a good job with him. But I'm kind of scared because I love Thrawn as a character so much.
Well, I mean, we'll have to wait and see, I guess. I think that's what the Ahsoka series is going to be around, though. So there you go.
It'll be interesting to see. So we'll have to get your views when Thrawn shows up on screen, and that's going to happen. That's going to happen sooner or later. Now, getting back to the super chats. Philip JY sent us a smiley super sticker, and Mark Lopez
Thank you.
sent us a thumbs up super sticker. Thank you
you.
so much.
And while you're out there and we got a thumbs up, why don't you hit the thumbs up if you haven't already? Thank you so much.
Yeah, indeed. Hit that like, because that would really help us. And Aaron sent us $5 saying liberal McCarthyism. Some of them are old enough to know better. And Brett Cohen has a question for me. Andre, is Norwegian moonshine reindeer urine after they've eaten Amanita muscaria mushrooms? Heard it's a way to really trip balls. Yeah, no, you're thinking of like the local Sami moonshine. That's something else. I sadly do not have access to that. The Norwegian moonshine, that's pure disinfectant. But if you drink enough of it, I'm sure you're going to trip some pretty heavy balls.
Neither one sound that. I'd rather just eat the mushrooms and cut out the middleman there. I don't know about you, but
yeah. And Tyler Preston says, spoilers, Mandy is actually Ren Famous' daughter.
Oh, Ren Famous? Yeah. Ooh, not going to touch that one.
And Plebeian says, Dachshund my age. Remember Brother Bear. Good movie.
Yeah, you're younger. I say you're more probably closer to Anna's age. Then you're not doxing yourself in your age there. We're older than you in that case, as far as Andre and I.
Yeah, I remember Disney's golden age, for like their second golden age.
Yeah, I mean, when I was a kid, we had stuff like, I remember when Little Mermaid come out, because that was like one of my major, like I was like 9 when that movie came out. There, that's doxing my age right there.
Yeah. And Snaked172 says, youngins are the only reason I've seen Paw Patrol. Been countering with OG DuckTales, Tailspin, and Ninja Turtles. Ah, yeah, good.
There you go. So you got to do that. Like when I was raising
proper education.
Yeah, when I was raising my kid, it was the same thing. He'd get into some of those weird shows. It's like, wait. You got to watch some good stuff here. Yeah, you definitely got to try and mix in the good stuff if you can.
Got to watch some classics. And Sontar says, please invite Lore Reloaded onto a Star Trek stream.
We'll check into that. I'm not. Yeah. I don't know him, so we'll have to see. But yeah.
Yeah, I'm familiar with. I've seen some of his
videos, but not.
Past,
yeah.
But yeah, I'm sure something can be arranged. And Terminus Est says, I don't like or get that Ahsoka has never met Luke.
Yeah, that bothers me a little bit, but Anna thinks she's all right with it. So I guess I'll go with it.
You got to remember, Luke was hidden away and protected. There wouldn't really be a reason for Ahsoka to have met him, especially under, we all saw in Revenge of the Sith when, he was born, how he was taken to Tatooine, and Obi-Wan kind of watched over him. Ahsoka really didn't have a reason to go to Tatooine, and she also, Padme died, and Padme was, they faked it looking like she was pregnant when she died. I think
what they mean and what my problem is more so like during the whole skirmish with the Empire. Especially since Anakin was her mentor or whatever, don't you think that facing down Vader, she should be there? But that's just me.
She was in Rebels, so they had that scene where she faced him off. So with that, Ahsoka's tie to the rebellion was with Bail Organa. I don't even think she interacted with Leia, because as far as she know, when she saw Leia was they mentioned Leia was still really, really young in the Ahsoka book, but she would get all of her commands from either Bail or one of his people, and she would be off doing stuff because it was vital for her to be kept as far away from Vader as possible. So once Alderaan was destroyed, she would have to take her, information from somebody else, or just go off and, I guess, try to do her own thing or find Thrawn. Because with everything that happened in Rebels, with Ezra and Thrawn getting teleported by the space whales to the other side of the galaxy, and then they kind of touched about how she got, this is going to sound so crazy. There's Jedi wolves that can take you to a portal where you can time travel. And so Ezra went back and saved her because Vader killed her. And so he saved Ahsoka, so Ahsoka didn't die. And so because Ahsoka had already faced Vader, she spent other time while the Return of the Jedi was happening, focusing on connecting with the Force. Because she died, so she needed to. Yeah, it's very strange, but this is what happens when Dave Filoni gets, a longer leash to work on Star Wars. You get space Jedi wolves that can time travel and have a magical space wolf time traveling portal. It it doesn't make sense, so that's why I'm hoping Jon Favreau can fix it and can answer these questions that we have. Because right now it's just.
I think I'm going to stick with the Mandalorian. Thank you very much.
I hope
And
Favreau's sitting there going,
I'll happily disregard any kind of continuity errors from the most extreme of Filoni. So yeah,
I hope there's days where Favreau's just like, come on, Filoni, come on.
Yeah, as Guitar Jedi says in the chat, Filoni is baloney. Yeah. And speaking of the chat,
time traveling
we are
wolves,
now caught up with the super chats. We just got a piece of breaking. It was like 7 hours ago. Yeah. But Disney has apparently cancelled the DuckTales reboot after 3 seasons.
Oh my god, it's so bad. Have you watched it?
I've only seen the first couple of episodes, and I liked those, but I haven't seen the rest. Only the first couple of episodes of season 1, and I liked them. I did, but I haven't seen seasons like most of season 1. I haven't seen any of season 2, and likewise nothing of season 3. But
this is like one of the handful of animated shows to get canceled during this, which is funny because you'd think animation would be the one thing to keep going, but like the Thundercats show got canceled, the She-Ra show, thank God, got canceled. And now this, and I think there was a couple other ones I heard about. But go on, Andre. I'm sorry.
But Anna, tell me what was wrong with the Doctor. Of course, the artwork. We all hate the artwork, but at least from the few episodes that I saw of the first season, which was like the first 5 or 6 or something, but of those first 5 or 6, I liked it. So did you not like those? Did it lose its way later, or was it always crap? According to you, and if so, why?
Know what season or episodes that I really watched, because the Munchkin was watching them and she just had them on and I would catch them. But there was one in particular where so when I grew up, I watched DuckTales, and out of all of them, Scrooge is my favorite. I absolutely love Scrooge McDuck. And I like that he's, he is who he is. He's got his flaws, but you still love him anyway. And he takes his nephews on adventures to go search for treasure and money. And it's so ridiculous, but it just works. And so that's what I was expecting. The episode that struck me, that really irritated me, was that Huey, Dewey, and Louie aren't together. It's Huey and Dewey, and Louie's off doing something else. Or with Ducky or something, or whatever the hell that chick's name is that I'm blanking right now, because she really wasn't too big in the originals. And then Scrooge is just in a room fighting with the other dude. He's not even close to being a main character. And it was something about this other duck or this parakeet guy that has a company, and he's the cool it guy that basically owns Twitter. And it's just a scam, so that way he can say, oh, I'm going to come out with this next big thing, get everyone's money, but it's all fake, and he's faking a robbery so that way he can get money from it. And it's just one of the stupidest things I'd ever seen. And it was, I don't know, it just was everything that's wrong with society now in an episode of DuckTales.
So it was that one episode, and based on that one episode, then you didn't like the rest of the series. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. I'm just wondering if that's the judgment, because the episodes that I saw, again, I hated the artwork, but as someone that not only liked DuckTales, but that liked the original comics, first from Don Rosa and then by from Carl Barks, and then by Don Rosa, who was even better. And the writers took at least inspiration from those stories, and that's a very, very good thing. And the episodes that I saw, yes, some of them were a bit of a mixed bag, but there were some excellent stuff in there as well. But I agree. I think I have seen the episode that you're referring to, and yeah, that was a weak one. That was a really weak one. But others were pretty cool, like the one with the lucky dime, and how like Gyro Gearloose has to tell Little Helper, "Don't riot against Master. Don't become a homicidal maniac like all the other robots I made before."
Well, Boeg says the new DuckTales was based on Don Rosa's run of DuckTale comics. It was pretty good, and the series expanded on the characters, and thinks that Anna's take was bad. Well, that's your fair opinion. And again, I haven't read the comics, so I have no idea.
The few episodes I watched with the Munchkin, I did not like.
Yeah,
I don't like that Huey and Dewey and Louie aren't all together.
Yeah. I will tell you this: like in Europe, Don Rosa is a freaking rock star. It's like funny, like in conventions that you have like here in Northern Europe and stuff like that. Then you can have like a Neil Gaiman, he's going to draw a crowd. But if you have like mention a couple of like huge Marvel or DC names, like you get like who's like really popular there this week. Well, anyway, you can have like the top talent from Marvel and DC. You can put them at like a convention stand in the Netherlands or Denmark, in Norway and stuff like that. There'll be like 10, 15 people in the line. And Don Rosa, the queue is going to go circling inside the building and out the street, because his writing is so underrated and so fantastic. And if I hooked you up with some of those comics that he wrote, you'd be blown away, because they are so good. And if the writers had just straight up adapted his stories, this would have been the best show ever. They didn't do that, but they found some inspiration from them, and that's a very, very good thing. And if you want, I'll hook you up with some of those comics. You'll be blown away.
Yeah, I mean, I read some when I was a kid, and I always really, really liked DuckTales.
Yeah, but here's like the thing. There's a difference between, because there were so many. I'm talking about those two writers in particular, Carl Barks and Don Rosa, first and foremost. And if you read something else that wasn't from them, chances are it wasn't that good.
Well, I mean,
those
it's been...
two were a league of their own.
And Roger Haynes says, I enjoyed Scrooge McDuck comics when I was a kid. Well, good. Glad to hear that. And then Boag says, yes, the my opinion defense, great rebuttal, TT. Well, you got to be fair, Boag, and everybody has their opinion, and it's...
Yeah, and that's fair, because again, from what I could say of this DuckTales, it was a mixed bag. There were like some things that were weird in it, and there's one thing that really annoyed me, that they insisted on airing it out of order. That was like completely messed up as well, I thought, because I know that the fans of that, they had to take to Twitter for the showrunner to tweet out, this is the actual order that you're supposed to see the episodes in, because the network, they completely screwed with it, because they decided that kids are dumb and they can't figure out the storyline that we want to tell over the course of a season here. And so yeah, that's also didn't help. And Boag also says the reboot integrated the life and times of Scrooge McDuck. It integrated the entire Disney afternoon into the lore.
Well,
again, I haven't seen the whole thing, but yeah. But
I honestly think I probably just saw the worst episodes.
Yeah, because again, it was a mixed bag, and if you're judging it from that episode, then can't blame you.
Well, it wasn't just that episode. There was one that I actually had to get up and leave the room because they crashed the car, and it was something bad. But so the way we were watching it was the Munchkin had, I don't know, she downloaded something on an app so she could watch it, but it had all of the episodes, and then there was like 4 or 5 of them that were free. So she was watching those ones. I don't know what order they were in or what season they were in, but I'm guessing because they were the 4 or 5 free ones, they're probably the worst ones.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I don't know. Again, I've only seen like 6, 7 episodes, and of those, they were a mixed bag. Like half weren't any good, but the other half were fantastic, in my opinion. So yeah. But again, I haven't seen the rest. But I actually intend to see it all at some point because I'm sufficiently interested. Just because it, at the very least, is inspired by Don Rosa, and he is one of the all-time greats. So underrated in the States, but in Europe, he's considered right up there with Alan Moore and Neil Gaiman, if not higher than the two of them. So yeah. With that, I do believe that we are mostly up to speed.
We got one more from Boeg, so thank you for the super chats, and I guess he's having some fun with Tickle Trunk there, and
Merlin the Enchanter says Andre didn't answer my question. You have to repeat the question because I didn't see
I'm not
it.
sure.
It quite quickly here. Yeah. And Miss Boag again says, because I can tickle trunk. Yeah, well, thanks so much. So yeah, that's awesome. All right, Anna, thanks for joining us today. Where can people find you and enjoy more of your artwork?
The art stuff, that would be over on my art Instagram and art channel. But just go to That Star Wars Girl, type in my name, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. It's all there. All just underneath That Star Wars Girl.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thanks for joining. And Merlin the Enchanter says he did repeat the question, but well, I still haven't seen it, so gonna have to. Go again. Repeat the question. And Tom, meanwhile, where can people find us, and what else should they be investing in if they want to make a statement?
Well, you can always check out our t-shirts shop over at Mixed Tees, where we have some new designs right now, like a Disco Sucks t-shirt and more. You can find that over there, along with our Defund Hollywood and Last Jedi's Not Canon and I'm Batman t-shirt and all kinds of good stuff. So there you go. And I think he wants to know which comics you were talking about. But then he says, never mind, it wasn't important. So.
No, any Uncle Scrooge comics from Don Rosa, but especially the life and times of Uncle Scrooge, which is simply epic.
All right. So I want to thank Anna again for hopping in and sticking around with us while we finished up the show. And, of course, thank you to the Critical Drinker for coming in. And don't forget Friday. Hopefully we'll have Cecil here. So, if anything, until then, thanks, folks. And we will catch you on Friday.